All right, thanks so much, Moani. Well, the Canary Islands in Spain, it's an alternate site in case the 30-meter telescope cannot be built atop Mauna Kea. TMT officials saying that they'd still prefer to build on the Big Island and will forge ahead to obtain approval to construct the telescope on conservation land. Court hearings are happening now on the Big Island after the state Supreme Court invalidated the project's construction permit last year. Before that ruling, protesters had blocked construction crews because they say the land atop Mauna Kea is considered sacred. It's not clear if things can be patched up between Quiksilver and the Eddie Aikau family. The dispute comes following a hugely successful big wave surf contest at Waimea just last year. But this weekend, the attorney for the family announced talks had broken off and that the two sides were parting ways after 31 years. Today, the Aikau family, supported by members of the local surfing community, made an appeal to the city to help work it out.
This is a day to honor a Hawaiian who was fortunate to have won the greatest event in the world and dedicate his win to Hawaii's people. This is a day to remember and really know who this Hawaiian is, Eddie Aikau.
But I can say that the family's primary concern is that the event wouldn't lose its connection with Eddie Aikau and what he represented.
Reese denies that the sticking point is compensation. In a statement, Quiksilver said it's disappointed that its long-standing relationship may be coming to an end. It said out of respect to Eddie Aikau's memory, it was offering to have the family use its permit for this winter, but the city says the permit is non-transferable. In a statement, Mayor Caldwell said he was encouraged that Quiksilver would be willing to work with the Aikaus to allow the Eddie to go this year. The arrangement might involve naming someone with the Aikau Foundation to operate the event for Quiksilver. All right, time to look outside. Some sunny skies today, but are those rains going to return for trick-or-treating? Let's get a first look at the forecast and toss it over to KITV meteorologist Pete Cajano. Pete.
Hey, thanks, Mike. And you know what? That's the big question. We had rain through the weekend, many showers at some of the events Saturday night. All blue at times. We were seeing wet weather out there. Tonight, we have some good news for you depending on where you're at. A little less coverage of rain expected on Oahu and also Kauai. But over towards the Big Island, I think you're still going to see clouds and showers. You can see the clouds and at times some wet weather. They'll be passing through, so not a washout, but certainly trick-or-treating on the windward side. Hamakua coastline, Hilo points down the south of the Big Island. You can expect to see a couple of light showers there. Also seeing some light showers right now into windward sections of Maui. That's going to push on through pretty quickly. So the good news is the trade wind's blowing strong enough that if you run into some of these showers, probably won't last all that long, maybe 20, 25 minutes. We'll take you over towards Oahu. We do have some light rain just offshore north of Lokai, and this could move your way. So windward sections near Kailua could see some light sprinkles. Also Waimanalo as we head into the early evening hours. So we'll keep an eye on that for you. Let's go ahead and take a look at the high surf advisory that has been extended all the way up until 6 a.m. on Tuesday. Coming up, we're going to talk about your Halloween forecast, that trick-or-treat forecast, and much more. That's coming up a little later. Mike.
All right, thank you, Pete. Well, the man who teamed up with his girlfriend to try and kill her pregnant sister was sentenced to prison for life with the possibility of parole. Michael Ayala was also sentenced to 20 years for a related burglary charge, both to be served concurrently. Ayala will appear before the Hawaii Paroling Authority to determine his minimum sentence and eventually if he'll be paroled.
Well, I won't presume what the Hawaii Paroling Authority would decide, but it is within their discretion. And so while he was sentenced to a 20-year term for the robbery charge, that was not a minimum sentence, but rather the maximum indeterminate sentence.
Jessica Heinbaugh, Ayala's then girlfriend, also received life with the possibility of parole in June of last year. An attempted murder investigation turns into a deadly three-car crash over the weekend. KITV's Lindsay Fukano spoke with witnesses of that terrifying scene.
Everything is paradise, and then things could change so quickly.
I was scared, and I knew that it was going to end in tragedy.
Witnesses to tragedy. People on Maui are still stunned by what they saw. On Saturday afternoon, just before 3:30, Maui police officers investigated a suspicious vehicle at a home on East Waiko Road in Waikapu. Their officers found 29-year-old Joshua Oppo asleep at the wheel of a Nissan sedan. When officers confronted Oppo, he reversed his car into a police vehicle and took off. No one was inside that vehicle, but Oppo almost ran over two officers nearby. Police then chased Oppo down Honoapi'i Lani Highway, then down the southbound lanes of Kui-Helani Highway right into oncoming traffic.
I felt like I was hovering behind this car in front of me, even though they weren't coming towards me. You could feel it in your stomach.
Oppo then collided head-on with a black Scion, which hit a blue Hyundai. The driver of the Scion, Melissa Egbert of Lahaina. She was taken to the hospital where she later died. She was an English teacher at the UH Maui campus who was about to celebrate her 34th birthday on Wednesday. Those that work with Egbert say she was beloved by her students.
She touched a lot of people in our community at the college, and so people are, very sad about this loss and devastated by the loss. So she really did affect quite a large community.
David Shannon is vacationing in Maui from Lexington, Kentucky, and says he was the next car to drive by after the crash happened and feels lucky to be alive.
Tire went rolling across the median, and then I realized it had just happened, at that moment, and the police were already there.
Joshua Oppo died from his injuries at the hospital, and a first-degree attempted murder investigation is now underway. The two people in the blue Hyundai suffered minor injuries. Lindsay Vucano, KITV Island News.
Back here on Oahu, the cause of an apartment building fire on Sheridan Street is being classified as undetermined. Fire investigators say there's not enough information to identify one specific cause. The blaze broke out yesterday morning with flames and smoke coming from a third-floor unit. 3 residents were taken to the hospital for smoke inhalation. The entire building was deemed unsafe last night due to smoke damage and heavy fumes. The fire department says most residents have been allowed back into their apartments, damage estimated at $150,000.